So, a little bit of a different frame here that we're working with, but this is day 2 of the YouTube series. And again, these videos are going to be in between. Some will be as short as 30 seconds, and then ones like this will probably be 4 or 5 minutes, go up to 10. I put on my Instagram story today, I asked what video that we wanted to cover. The most popular one seemed to be the diet and training specifics and the differences from Cobourg, where I qualified for nationals, and then nationals where I just competed in and finished 4th this past weekend. So, I mean, to get into the real specifics of everything, we're looking at a half an hour or 45-minute video. So we're actually going to condense things pretty well here today, and I'll give you a brief overview of the specifics, and we'll go from there. And if you guys want to know more, then you guys just let me know, and in a separate video we'll go over that for sure. So Cobourg's prep was 14 weeks, and I started tremendously leaner than I did for nationals. Like when I started my prep for Cobourgs, I was already I was definitely below 8% body fat, and I would probably say closer to 7.0. So already in really good shape, and I was already eating a lot of calories. I started at a really good point, way ahead of the game. So having said that, I didn't have to diet on too low of calories as my static or traditional meal plan every day. But also having said that, I didn't actually have any cheat meals or cheat days, of course, or anything like that. I'm someone that's like very mentally disciplined, and it just didn't have to go that way. But anyways, it was 7 meals. I was eating roughly around 190 to 200 grams of protein a day. And my carbohydrates were actually pretty high for someone that was like, I mean, I started that prep at like 160 pounds. My carbohydrates were like 220 or something like that. And fats were fairly low though. My fats never went high. I only had fat sources, direct fat sources in my last 2 meals. Mac nut oil in my 6th, and then almond butter in my 7th. As the show got closer, obviously I pulled the carbohydrates down. I got real low, for myself anyways, for calories, because I'm a high output, high frequency, high volume trainer, and I was doing about 1,600 calories for a few weeks, not like a week or something. Yeah, my training, it was pretty different. So I was doing a lot of like advanced techniques for that show. Obviously I always focus on progressive overload. And for those that don't know what that is, quick Google search. It's not that complicated. It sounds like it is, but it certainly is not. And that's always been my baby when it comes to training. But high frequency as well, and high volume. And, you know, in addition to everything I was going on, I was doing drop sets, I was doing, partials, I was doing rest pauses. I kind of beat my body up. I definitely sacrificed a little bit of muscle in the last 4 weeks of that prep. Okay, so, and then quickly versus nationals. Obviously this is fresh in my mind. So 20-week prep. What about a 14 versus a 20-week prep? There's pros and cons to both, for sure. I started a lot heavier. I started at 183.9 pounds. And the highest I got up to in my off season was 187.9, I think. Which is... I still had some abs at 187.9 actually. But kind of like my lower back, at 180 pounds, I have a faint Christmas tree, so it's weird. But anyways, at 16, or at 20, exactly 20 weeks out, at 16, at 12, and at 8, I had a cheat day, which was really nice. Now, the other side of that is wasn't eating near as many calories as I was statically through my Cobourg prep. So I started only around like 2,000 or something like that for 27 to 28 days, right? And then I'd like super saturate, get close to 10,000 calories in a day, feel real good until about 7,000 calories in, and feel like I was not doing so good. Stomach distension, just crazy. Like I felt so heavy, obviously, because I was heavier because there was way more food and way more crap, literally waiting to be crapped out of my body. Training was really different. I actually did it in multiple phases, which is generally how I program my clients, which is, I think, much easier mentally, but also physically. Cobourg, I just kind of put my nose to the grindstone, with a plan, of course, but without any sort of like refreshing or, like having a week where things were different or rep range was like totally eliminated or anything like that. Always intense. Like anyone that knows how I train or anyone that sees me train, I train hard and I love it. Like I really love, I train to failure, and everyone says I train to failure, bro, but you don't. Like 98% of you don't. There's a huge difference in people that train to failure and people that say they do. And if you're natural, guess what? The results, they don't really change too much going from 95% to failure to true failure, but it's just how I like to train. So that's how I do it. But yeah, last 8 weeks, again, there's no cheat meals or anything like that. I mean, you staple it down. That's how you get that nasty condition. That's how you actually, you can't just be throwing out cheat meals when you're 12 days out and la-di-da and, training half-assed, and you're obviously starting to pull cardio down and stuff like that, hopefully, because you're already in condition whenever you're, 12 days out or 15 days out or whatever it is. If you're not ready when you're 2 weeks out, no crazy weird loading or cheat meal is going to put you in shape. If anything, all it's going to do is it's going to hinder how you're going to gauge your load actually for the peak week of the show. So I guess that's the brief specific, if that's not redundant, which it definitely is, overview, the difference of the two diets. If you guys want to know more, I am OCD and way too addictive personality and way too meticulous. I have notes of every single day's food sources, portions, and meal times of every day of both preps. So we could actually go into that. If you guys have any interest at all, let me know for sure. Just again, this 20-day series is going on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all with different content. So if you want to know more about supplements, go to Facebook. If you want to know more about the actual only nutrition side, follow the series on Instagram. And for the general information of bodybuilding or health, or just both ends of the spectrum and in between, this is where you're going to find those. Because think if I had to type this out on a phone, what we just talked about, and you had to read that on Facebook or listen and swipe 10 1-minute videos with a caption on Instagram. So that's what we're going for with here. A little bit more thorough generally. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you took something out of that. Yeah, honestly, I'm doing this to give back because I always isolate myself during preps. I get really militant, and I'm not, the most social person ever in the last few weeks. So these are all coming back to you, and we just finished under 10 minutes. So I hope you liked the video. Keep following. Till next time.